Welcome back to the LTA. This weekend, our top teams play for seeding in the playoffs, while our bottom squads fight for their lives to avoid being the first teams eliminated from Split 2 competition. Later today, Lion and Dig face off in our first elimination match of the split. They've both been in so many close series before this, but close won't cut it anymore. Only one of the scrappy squads gets to stay alive and move into the playoff bracket. But first, the big battle to decide the first round playoff matchups. FlyQuest and C9 both went undefeated in their groups, but today we see one of those perfect records get tarnished. Who's going to be the team to beat as we head into best of fives next week? Let's find out. Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for Fly versus C9. I'm Captain Flowers, joined by Kobe and Azael for this one, and I cannot wait to get into it.
I mean, this matchup feels like it is faded. When you go back to positioning phase, these are the two teams that were playing for number one. Then you go into the group phase. Both teams sweep their group. They are the clear top two teams. They have very different styles. I think it's going to be incredibly exciting.
Yeah, I mean, you were talking to them on stage, and they were like, oh, yeah, FlyQuest is the only team that beats us as Cloud9 in scrims. But this year, they have beaten FlyQuest in the actual stage game. So it truly is an ego battle here between our top two teams. I think everybody has been highly anticipating this battle at the top.
And I'm so looking forward to seeing, like, what kind of picks, what kind of adaptations they've got prepared for one another here. I really hope we get to Game 3 just so we can see the most out of the best of 3 Fearless matchups. This is our last week of best of 3s until we move on to BO5s in the playoffs next week. So I want to see all of our teams looking really sharp for that.
Is that a puking rainbow?
I think she's barfing up a rainbow.
That's the Lux Ultimate, actually.
Yeah.
You just never paid attention to where the rainbow originated from. It's not the staff.
All right, Flowers, what was the original name of the Lux Ultimate?
Finale Spunkel.
Nice!
I got you, bro. I've been a long time player. Didn't even need to look that one up. We're good. We're locked in. And, man, I just cannot wait to see how we start this one up. The man on your screen right now, Bwipo, I was talking to him a little bit last week during our tailgate, our Spirit Blossom after party, asking his thoughts on the matchup, his thoughts about what we might be able to see and expect coming into this one. And he seemed really excited to go up against Thanatos, seemed to have some picks ready.
So we are actually into the draft, so it seems like
you can see it on stage.
UI is not working right now, but we do have the first picks coming through. C9 did go Vi, Taliyah, and over on the other side, FlyQuest so far has selected Rumble and Naafiri, and we're just waiting for the third pick from Loki. The bans for C9 were Cassio, Jace, and Nico, and FlyQuest banned out Varus, Gwen, and Yone.
It is very dangerous to give over Vi plus Taliyah combos. This is not given over very frequently, so huge pick potential and kill potential already.
Oh, Annie!
We got our Annie after the rework and the compensation buffs after the initial rework.
After the first rework.
it didn't really work out. They basically murdered Tibbers, and they moved a bunch of Annie's damage into her own kits. Then initially she was a little bit too low, so they bumped all the numbers up, and now Annie is a true burst mage. So very excited for this one because a lot of the pros have been practicing it in solo queue. There's been talk about it in scrims and being very successful there, but now we get to see it on stage. Still though, they did have to give up the Vi and Taliyah, which is very good point and click at killing off low mobility mages. And he does now have that extra move speed with the shield, but it's not going to be, you know, like a teleport or anything or a gap close or anything.
Yeah, but I mean, you don't necessarily have to find a big engage when they're going to be engaging on you, right? It's like Ambessa and Vi are going to be flying in on you. It could maybe be used for that counter engage. The Vayne ban I do think is incorrect because we are in the client, and that is a Varus ban that I'm seeing in the client. So if you're wondering why Varus is going through, I believe that is actually a Varus ban, not a Vayne ban.
All right, Vayne ban would be a little bit silly, but since we are now having the UI working correctly, let's go ahead and look at those bans real fast just to get caught up with Cassiopeia, Jace, and Nico banned out in the first half by C9. The Renekton now first ban in the second half. Over on the other side, the Yone, the Gwen, the Varus that has now been corrected. Thank you so much, UI team. And then the Kaisa, the first ban of the second half for FlyQuest as they look towards that AD carry pool.
Yeah, everything else does look to be correct, and we still are looking at the massive amounts of engage. So FlyQuest here, trying to look about their bottom lane for a little bit more. They're also going to ban out the Lucian in addition to the Kaisa here, so whittling it down a bit more. Meanwhile, Cloud9, They were trying to take away some of the Bwipo answers. You know, Renekton does just bully Ambessa, pretty hard matchup early on. I think that's probably the only one Thanatos would really be worried about, though.
I feel like they could probably just go Ezreal here on 4 and pinch it even further, because Ezreal is still up and available, you know, is good into these sorts of dive-type compositions, and they've really been trying to pinch the pool here on Zven, so I would not be surprised at all. You just go Ezreal on 4, you have support counter pick on 5, you try to get an advantageous bot lane there. Would make a lot of sense to me for FlyQuest.
Like an Ezreal plus Leona or something like that, so you get some more engage as well with the Annie, would be quite nice. Meanwhile, okay, that one is a Karma. Everything else definitely still checks out. It's just the little correction earlier, so looks like they have plenty of options.
Oh,
is it gonna?
Oh my God! Wait, is this
support Annie?
Is it going to be support Annie? Are they like, how much are they cooking here? Is it going to be support Annie and they're moving things all around? Like, do you think this is volley jungle for sure? Or do you think it's volley top for Bwipo? Like, they're kind of cooking because there's a lot of potential flexes here now. Annie could be mid or support. Volley could
Rumble?
be jungle or top. You could have Rumble. You could have Rumble mid potentially. You could have Naafiri
what
mid
is going on?
You can have support Rumble here too.
There's a lot of flexes.
Okay, so with that, they do. FlyQuest doesn't take the Ezreal, so Cloud9
the other way.
Zven, this has been Zven's like favorite champion in recent memory now as well.
Wow.
And they've used it super well because Vulcan has been highly effective on the roaming champions. Of course, the Ezreal plus Bard game that they played was super, super well played from the Cloud9 bottom lane, but this time around, they do need a bit more hard engage, and they are going to grab the Alistar for it. Vulcan has been so good with that one. Now, let's see. The final pick here for FlyQuest.
Okay, I'm really curious about this. C9's draft, you know where everything's going, but this FlyQuest one, man.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly got no clue. I mean, Annie has pretty much exclusively played mid lane in pro so far in the major regions. It did have one game of its top, one game of its support, so it has mostly just been mid. Naafiri, of course, you were expecting to be in the jungle, but then, you know, Rumble, like, is it actually going to be
it's either Rumble
support?
Yeah.
I think it is going to be Rumble support. This is kind of wild from Busio. I've definitely been seeing him cooking in solo queue. He plays a lot of different stuff. He plays some of these really kind of more niche picks and is very, very good at them. I've seen him carrying on all kinds of different champs. But this would be the first Rumble support globally, like not even just in the top regions. So definitely wild to see this actually come out, and we'll have to see how he makes it work. I mean, you can think back to, remember him playing Azir support back with Doublelift? Like, he is cooked on some stuff.
Yeah, and generally when you do see the Rumble support, it's like really good damage early on. So you have to be really, really careful of some of the early damage. Paired with a Jhin, that is a deadly lane. Like running you down, harpoons plus flame splitter, and being able to root people. This bottom lane has a lot of playmaking, the mid lane has a lot of playmaking, and the top lane is a very big winning matchup for FlyQuest. Volibear is a very, very, very tough matchup for Ambessa early on. So I think FlyQuest, like, they have so many volatile lanes in this game. The junglers are going to come up huge.
I mean, it is really interesting, right? Because Bwipo on stage, I was just interviewing him, he said that Thanatos' big strength is the lane phase. His job is to neutralize Thanatos today in the laning phase. So they pick this Rumble early. You're thinking, all right, blind Rumble top. You're giving Thanatos counterpick. Nope, they are flexing the Rumble to support. They are then putting Volibear top there for Bwipo, one of his marquee picks, to try to neutralize this Ambessa. And honestly, I've got no idea how this game is going to go.
And I would put my money on Volibear doing more than just neutralizing Ambessa. This should be a winning matchup to play off of, especially early on. So I'm definitely going to be very excited to see where the junglers go early, because Vi is definitely a scaling jungler, Naafiri a bit as well, but they'll have their options open to them.
All right, Cloud9 going with some tried and true combos like Vi and Taliyah, the Ezreal and the Alistar combo for the roaming support, plus the self-sufficient AD carry, Thanatos on one of his trademark picks, and they're going to need that against what FlyQuest is cooking up. What you're seeing on your screen right now, a historic record for recent times between C9 and FlyQuest. As you can see, C9 having a slightly more than 2/3 win rate against the FlyQuest squad.
Has been a lot more even, though, in recent years. This new era of FlyQuest obviously so strong. They're looking for an invade here. Massu is ready. They're all just going to walk in, and if you get tagged by one of those Electro Harpoons, you could just be sent packing immediately. So Blaber looks like he's just going to have to cross to the other side and start probably on his wolves. This is pretty rough for him.
Yeah, this is really good by FlyQuest, using that early Rumble power for this invade. They bully the Vi out of bot side jungle. So this is going to do a couple things. You split the map when you go for jungle invades like this. So it's going to allow this FlyQuest bottom lane to have a lot more security to play aggressive down on the bottom side. Since they're taking away jungle resources here, it means that Blaber on the Vi is going to be forced to play towards the top side of the map.
I mean, you can see Zven already hit a couple early Qs onto Massu, so did get a little bit of a chunk on him, but he's playing Fleet, he has the heal, and they are not going to be able to contest too heavily here. Busio, as expected, going to be playing Comet, going to be playing Ignite, and just constantly looking for this poke with the Electro Harpoon. And you have to be careful. I mean, when Rumble overheats, support or not, you have so much damage. So the potential of the all-in, if C9 overextends, is definitely there.
Plus, the jungle is just going to be such a huge lead for Inspired. We've actually seen Blaber doing a lot of early jungle invades in the past couple of weeks. But now, since FlyQuest were able to use that early advantage, Inspired crosses over to his Raptors, into his red side. And so he's making Blaber have very few options. And Blaber's going for a super early recall even here, level 3 on the Vi, after only being able to get his blue quadrant. He cancels it because Bwipo is proxying though.
Yeah, Bwipo trying to proxy this wave, but over the wall comes Blaber, and now FlyQuest got to be a little bit cautious. Thanatos flashing to follow, needs more lockdown to secure the kill on the bear though, hits the slow. Bwipo now a little bit more damage from the Sky Splitter. The shield's not going to block a whole lot as Blaber goes in for the Vault Breaker flash. Bwipo is still on the run. The bear is an endangered species at this point in time, but he stays alive for now. Thanatos,
he got
the
it!
last hit to guarantee first blood for C9.
Had to run a marathon to track that one down, and it was so meaningful because if Bwipo had escaped there, he would have wasted so much Cloud9 time. Blaber was so delayed, and the wave was going to be pushing back towards him. But Cloud9, they do barely clutch it out, and they do get the kill onto Bwipo, and Thanatos can teleport back with the pushing wave.
Thanatos did lose a whole wave, though, chasing that as well. And Bwipo is going to hold onto his TP, so he runs up there. I mean, that was risky, though. You knew that Blaber was going to be on that side of the map. You knew that he was going to be clearing there. Thanatos did take a big chunk, though, after TPing back, and Vulcan could be in some trouble.
Right now, you're seeing exactly what the support Rumble does. Immediately, you're tagged with the Electro Harpoon, bound up by the Deadly Flourish, then the Flame Spitter is cooking you for the entire duration, and Vulcan loses 2/3 of his health bar, has to pop the heal.
Catching back up to Inspired, had the jungle timer on Raptors, of course, so he goes back for the 4-minute respawn on those Raptors. He took away second Raptors as well from Blaber, so continues his counter jungling and keeps up the jungle lead for the Naafiri.
You know, it's so interesting to me thinking about Bwipo's decision to actually proxy there. Like, was there read that Blaber had already based? Was there read that he was somewhere else? Or was there read that he can go in there and actually waste Blaber's time and survive? Like,
100%.
That's what's really the kind of big question to me.
Yeah, 100%, because if he had gone away there, it would have been so big for the early game because Blaber canceled his recall. Both of them flashed to go for the chase. He was just a tiny bit away from escaping and wasting so much of their time and having the minion wave pushing back towards him since he was proxying. So I think it was calculated. It's just that they barely could not escape those Ambessa dashes.
Sometimes your calculations are just a little bit off, and it leads to you having the wrong answer.
All I can think of is all these flashbacks of playing with my jungler, like, jungler's bot, jungler's bot. You go to proxy, instantly he's there, and you're like,
because especially when you're like, oh, you know, he has nowhere to go, right? We took all his camps. You know, we took away 3 of the 4 jungle quadrants. He can only go for like one of those desperation ganks, but yeah, in the end, they do chase it down, and so we do have a pretty competitive setup for the top lane still, even with Ambessa getting that kill, because this Naafiri is going to be very scary. Inspired, of course, you can go into an early Eclipse too, and it's a very cheap first item, so definitely we'll look out for the level 6 Naafiri pretty shortly, but top lane sneaking into the brush.
Yeah, I'm really also interested in the fact that we have both teams swapping their bottom lanes up to the top side on the same timer that they used to before the grub changes came in for Season 2 of the 2025 season, right? Like, used to, everybody swaps up at 5.5 minutes to fight for the grubs at 6. Now that grubs don't spawn until 8 minutes into the game, you're usually seeing later swaps, but not this game. Both teams want to make sure they have a point of power around that top side. I'm hoping this means we get a big fight for the grubs, but Inspired again. Kobe, he loves this
Number
chicken
3,
pit.
baby.
He loves these chickens.
Number 3, respawn on the chickens, and it is level 6 already for Inspired. So that's why, you know, Bwipo wasting a lot of the Cloud9 jungle plus top laner time did actually have some ramifications, and it's going to be Inspired who pays the team back. This is a carry champ. We have seen what this champion can do when it gets ahead. He's just going to start up this dragon and should be able to effortlessly take it as well. The grubs still have another minute on them, but Blaber trying to see what he can find. Again, since he's been kind of starved out in this game, there's a little bit of delays on all these respawns and not quite as efficient.
And I feel like you hit the nail on the head earlier, Isaac, when we saw Inspired do that chicken pit invade. He was already level 6, now securing the dragon, another boost of EXP. Blaber's going to have to make sure he puts in the work to try to hit that level 6 ASAP if Cloud9 really does want to fight for these grubs. Otherwise, that is a distinct advantage for the enemy jungler.
Yeah, I mean, he's more than a full level up right now. You know, it's going to close the gap a little bit as Blaber does finish his camps on top side, but still, it's definitely a big deal. And when Busio, if he can get 6, you know, he's like a similar amount of experience as Blaber.
He's the same level as the Vi.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. Quad now obviously has the early Sork boots. You can see Loki grabbing Null Magic Mantle early on here. You are going to need some magic resistance against the Annie. You're definitely going to need Merc Treads against that point-and-click CC to not just be getting 100-0'd.
And we always talk about how Rumble is so good around these early and mid-game neutral objective fights because of how AoE heavy he is. Annie's been out of the meta for quite a while. Annie is an absolute terror in these types of fights as well, where your opponents have to find themselves in these narrow corridors, and Annie can just get a massive combo to immediately win the fight. Quad having Tibbers and Flash both ready is a scary prospect for C9. As Inspired and Quad both ready to walk up here. Busio still not close to level 6. Grub's already started up. Vulcan going to zone Inspired and Quad back a little bit here.
6.
Okay, Vulcan 6, Blaber 6. First grub already secured by C9, but FlyQuest thinking about maybe performing a pincer attack here, but no, they back away. So FlyQuest ends up bringing a lot of manpower only to allow the objective to go all 3 grubs C9.
They have no vision on Thanatos, so I think FlyQuest was maybe worried that he had already walked up towards there, and they're saying, okay, we'll just trade for bot lane plates. But Thanatos was actually just running straight back down towards bot. Bwipo should be able to get the demolish and get 1 plate there, but that is all they get paid for. Quad now on the roam. There is definitely potential of a dive if Thanatos stays around.
Yeah, Volibear ultimate, you can just turn off the tower.
Right, it's coming too.
Oh boy. Yeah, this is about to be a bad time for Thanatos. Let's see how bad that time ends up being. As Bwipo immediately starts off with the stun. Quad wanted to follow with a flash Tibbers, but Thanatos fast on the flash fingers himself, gets out of the danger, and now with that threat negated, he's not under any sort of threat from the tower dive at this point.
Yeah, that is huge for Thanatos there, able to just flash as they're coming in. And even though Quad does have Hex Flash on Annie, still not having the real thing greatly reduces the big playmaking potential of this champion that is all about these big burst moments coming in and a lot of playmaking.
Absolutely. I mean, the flash is so important, you know, Tibbers or not. You know, you're a little bit less reliant on the ulti than you were in the past. You know, it's kind of more power, obviously, put just into the base spells. So you do have more damage without Tibbers. But that being said, the AoE CC from Tibbers is still so incredibly important. And having flash to get it, unless they face check you, is pretty much required.
I mean, it's the iconic Annie play, right? The flash Tibbers to start the team fight to win the game. It's just what all of the Annie players lock the character for. And now, Quad's going to have to wait again to have a chance to use that in the future. But now, we'll see if they can find anything with Busio waiting here in the brushes. If Loki steps a little bit too close, gets caught in a stun, maybe there's a chance to follow it up with an equalizer, try to force a flash. But no, Loki is still just fine. The gold, very, very close. Honestly, the whole gold difference difference is just the first blood kill that C9 found themselves on Bwipo with that early bit of a greedy proxy. Not much more than that. C9 also, with that first set of grubs, though, feeling good about it. FlyQuest with the Ocean Drake to kind of even out that early neutral trading pattern. As we have 90 seconds until the next Drake spawns. FlyQuest got the first one uncontested, and Bwipo continues controlling this bottom lane 1v1 here. Kobe, you already said that Volibear should slam this matchup, and Bwipo doesn't seem to be struggling.
I mean, he's definitely not struggling, but at the same time, if I'm Thanatos and they did this whole like flex pick into counter pick thing, and I'm up gold, I'm laughing.
Feeling good, right?
Right? Like they 3-man bot, I trade flashes. You know, he tries to proxy, I get the kill. I'm even in farm. You know, he is feeling really, really good. And Ambessa, once you get Eclipse, that's when it's kind of your big spike. You can actually start slapping around some of these beefy bruisers and tanks up in the top lane. And Vulcan is here, so if Bwipo does go too far forward, he could be in trouble.
Yeah, so many of these small moments have gone well for Thanatos. He was just able to chase down Bwipo for the first blood kill. He was just able to flash out right as Quad came down. And that's what people highlight about Thanatos a lot. A lot of these close, you know, couple of fractions of a second that he does get these plays off and does play well. And he's had a lot of people visit his area of the map, whether he is top lane or whether he is bottom lane. There's a lot of people around.
And to me, that's just saying he's playing to his limits. He knows the extent of what he can do, and he's ready to push it like he's going to need to in this top-of-the-table matchup. Both of these teams running their groups, both of these teams undefeated in that series play for that recent stage. Both of them looking to be the team to beat as we head into BO5s, but once more, it's Thanatos with a target on his back. Inspired and Busio both show up, but the problem is, Inspired and Busio have no hard CC between them. It is only Bwipo's stun, so it's hard to lock up the hypermobile Ambessa. Inspired now, Dark and Daggers to force Blaber back out of the Dragon Pit. FlyQuest have a 4-man position, make it 5 here on the Dragon.
Quad getting into position here on the Annie. Maybe he can Hex Flash out of a brush. Camping on the control ward at the moment.
Okay, watch C9, see if they go a little bit farther forward. Quad only gets the stun there onto Vulcan, but now he's ready to engage, and Busio is down before he can do anything. Inspired into the back line, looking for a little bit more damage here on Zven, who gets away for now. Massu has the kill set up, and now C9 is in trouble. Inspired jumps right back in, and he's ready to put more daggers into Loki's back. The curtain call fires off. A second shot lands, a third shot lands, and a fourth is not required. FlyQuest take the fight.
Huge stuff here as they fight them off. The Dragon is still available. I think Inspired can just go back and pick that one up without the help of everybody else, because FlyQuest on the chase down, even though Cloud9 got the first kill as Thanatos is going in onto Bwipo here, getting a little bit risky for the bear. They both have their ults though, so they both hold them.
Yeah, Thanatos thinking about this. Bwipo goes right in. The public execution for the unstoppable. Bwipo now using the ulti to stay alive against Thanatos as Inspired and Busio need a little bit more. Thanatos locked up by the bear and the deadly flourish as finally Busio gets to use the equalizer. Blaber spawned back into the map only to go right back into the fountain. FlyQuest just ran him in circles.
I mean, this comp has so much early damage and early playmaking that they really got to set up for so many kills for the Jhin, for the Naafiri here, that was already ahead. And Inspired is more than a full level ahead now. Massu as well, hitting so many snipes here. The early collector Jhin, gonna do a lot of work. I mean, the early power spikes here are brutal. And FlyQuest keeping their dragon stacking alive, while now they're the ones with a large gold lead.
I mean, I really want to see that replay, because, I mean, Busio died on the initial fight without even getting his equalizer off or anything. Yeah. But because they committed so much to him, it just felt like Massu and Inspired and Quad just ran over the fight. You know, Bwipo was having a 1v1 off on the side.
Well, here we go.
Them out. So let's watch it one more time. Quad was looking for the Hex Flash play. He can only find the stun onto Vulcan, but he still has his tippers. And then Q Flash, they spend everything seismic shove onto Busio. So that's a lot of resources spent. And Inspired says, you got nothing left for me. He just dives right into the back line. Massu flashes forward with his 4 shots to be able to finish off Zven. And they just spent too much to kill off the Rumble support.
Yeah, I mean, the Naafiri diving in on Zven, chunking him low, setting up for Massu to finish off. And having all these chase tools to grab the extra kills, which is huge for FlyQuest. Then, as you know, we saw this this entire thing. This one is just going to be an extra kill on top, but they both had their ultimates still. Bwipo does end up also having to invest flash because he ulted the other way, but FlyQuest able to push their early skirmishing advantage. And if we get back to live pretty quickly, they're going to grab Rift Herald on top of that second dragon. Big smiles from Bwipo. as they were able to get that kill onto Thanatos. And now with a Rift Herald, you just get to accelerate the game. Towers go down, dragons continue stacking.
Zven and Massu has been one of these battles at the top for these two AD carries. Zven, I think, has been playing excellent this split, and Massu just absolutely got paid off that fight. The last time Zven actually won First Team All-Pro was back in 2021 when Massu was in high school still. Here he is. He's just hanging out. He's getting good grades.
He's got his diploma.
He's got his diploma.
Graduated from League University. He's good to go, man.
Meanwhile, Zven up there talks about it, 2021, getting that victory. But in the early skirmishes, I mean, the early Collector Jhin was doing a lot of work there.
How about an early IE coming up?
Oof.
Yeah, that is going to be some nice pain. Pretty good 2-item power
Some nice pain.
That's
some quality damage being dealt right here.
Don't keep shaming here, right?
Nice.
All right, back on Summoner's Rift. Also worth pointing out, FlyQuest got themselves some new and enhanced boots with that recent claim on the Rift Herald as well. Was their third neutral objective alongside being first 2-3 kills. As Thanatos and Bwipo, this just continues being these even trades back and forth. They both got a lot of sustain. Our next neutral objective is under 2 minutes with that third Drake spawning. Now, C9 aren't so far behind that they're going to feel suffocated out of contesting these fights, but they've got to know and remember how bad that last one went and have a better game plan.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think it's just simply you can't spend that much on a support rumble, right?
Okay.
The reality is, you have to be taking down one of these main threats. It's pretty much Inspired and Massu that I think are going to be the consistent damage dealers right now for FlyQuest. Busio has been spending so much time hovering these lanes, trying to see if he can find angles, but really hasn't been able to find much of anything. They don't really have a lot in the way of hard engage besides like a flash Tibbers or something like that. So it's going to be more about finding picks and being able to counter engage. And C9 kind of gave them the perfect opportunity to do that in the last fight.
And there's a reason why I was tracking this Naafiri from the very beginning of this invade. Like, Inspired is up to 1,000, or was 1,000 gold lead individually.
Close enough, 960.
As he continues to collect all these Krugs, like, when the Naafiri gets that early lead, and he did the 3 repeat Raptor steals, plus getting that kill, it's already 2 items. Sojin, it does so much for this champ, because a lot of the damage is ability damage with Naafiri. And now he can shred for Massu. So you've got the Black Cleaver shredding for the early Collector Jhin. It's just very early power spikes here. And I like not only the play that they've done with these champions, but also the builds here that they are going, because they're trying to ride that wave. Meanwhile, for Cloud9, you got to look at the comeback potential for these guys, because they do have some of the more scaling.
Quad's already going in with the flash. Tibbers looking for Loki, because Inspired is waiting right there, ready for him. And the dog gets it done. Quad ready to set it up. Loki thought that this was just a little bit of poking back and forth. Get a quick trade, disengage. The only way he could catch me is if he Well, he does. And then as soon as it happens, it's too late. Inspired is waiting. And FlyQuest get a pick on the enemy mid laner, including getting his flash on top of that as the next Drake spawns. They're in a great spot to just force this down before Loki's even back alive.
Loki was looking for a tickle fight there, and Quad pulled out a gun.
Whoa! That is not nice pain, by the way. That's what not nice pain looks like.
You guys are out of pocket today. I don't know. Let's go back to the Dragon. Blaber's ready to try to contest it, but Inspired's already got it secure. Deadly Flourish ain't going to hit Vulcan. He's using the ulti, but he's still not that tanky. Bwipo looking to hold everybody else off on the C9 side as the equalizer comes down, and C9 is forced back over the wall. Loki's the only one who can't get away because he used his flash in the last play. FlyQuest get an objective, and Loki is the cherry on top.
This is 19 minutes in. They already have 3 dragons, 7-2, 2K gold lead. Cloud9 needs to find something in a hurry, or this game 1 is just looking like it's over, because that is Infernal Soul that is going to be ready here for a super fed Naafiri, for a super fed Jhin, who's going to have IE on base, by the way, is just going to be so hard to come back.
Yeah, that Dragon Soul is looking quite juicy for FlyQuest. So Blaber goes in, tries to get in range for the steal, doesn't get it because Inspired already is able to snipe that one away, and then Bwipo there in the pit with 3 members around him, and he likes those odds. Even while Vulcan was tanking everyone up with Alistar ultimate, FlyQuest were able to chase through, and Loki has 0 escape.
Also really like, they knew that there was a potential of Blaber coming in to steal, so Massu just held his 4th shot, and they comboed 4th shot plus smite, and they're basically just knocking it down from 2k, so there's no way that Blaber can actually steal that away.
Yeah.
Inspired has good burst himself with Q smite, but you add in 4 shot from Jhin, there's just no shot you're going to steal that. So smart stuff there from FlyQuest. They knew that was really the only hope Blaber had.
I've seen people sneak in between a Callista Ren. Sometimes you just gotta hope. You just gotta hope and you gotta pray.
I don't think
we weren't
gonna get one
enough.
of those. Yeah, exactly.
We're at that point. We are at that point, to be fair.
Yeah, you gotta be praying.
All right, C9 praying that maybe Blaber can get a chicken, but no, Inspired smites down that big one yet again. He has lived inside this C9 chicken camp the entire game long, just controlling this. The 3-0 and 3 Jhin on his side with the Infinity Edge completed, alongside that early Collector with the Empowered Boots of Swiftness. Massu's in a spot to just run the game, as topside Thanatos will at least collect the Tier 1 turret there for C9, bring that gold lead back down closer to 1,000 versus the 2K that it was sitting at there for FlyQuest. But when you consider everything else FlyQuest has with the Dragon bonuses, when you consider they're finding fights like this, Zven tries to get away, but he's already burning down, doesn't use the summoner spells, knows there was no way he was going to live through it, and C9 lose another one for free. FlyQuest 8-2.
You gotta believe that's gonna be Otacon for FlyQuest then, because without the Ezreal, you cannot fight this as C9. You can start praying again and hope for a miracle.
Yeah, I mean, Thanatos is not going to base. He can't fill his base. He's pushing top, so they realize what you realize. There's no shot of actually getting in to steal this. Cloud9 has to know at this point in the game, you maybe get one more fight before it's absolutely over and there's no chance of coming back. So they're going to be looking for that fight at the next Dragon here. Try to stop that stack to Seoul. See if you can get a wipe there. See if you can find some sort of way. So they need to hold on to summoners. They need to hold on to these major abilities and just try to get as strong as you possibly can, because FlyQuest is running away with this. They already had significant XP advantages. Otacon is just going to make that even worse when you're looking across the board. It is XP leads everywhere.
Yeah, level 12 to level 14 in the jungle feels pretty bad. Almost a 2-level lead for Massu over Zven in the AD carry department as well. And Vulcan just about 1 full level behind Busio here in support. Busio's Rumble, the Rumble itself, you kind of pointed out earlier, Azael, that it hasn't been doing a lot. He's been looking for things, he's been shadowing, but it hasn't really created a whole lot of wow moments on its own. But it's not like it's been a bad pick. He's sitting at 1-1-4. He's contributing just fine. It's just really been about these 3 guys in the middle right here, 2-0-5, 2-0-4. Now another play coming in as Thanatos wants to try to kill Quad. A little bit more damage is all he needs, but he ain't gonna find it. Quad gets away, and Massu's on a rampage. The wallet difference shows its face right here as Blaber tries to escape the Flame Spitter, but enough damage comes through. Inspired drops the aggro with a Hound's Pursuit. The turret switches over to Busio, and FlyQuest gets another 2-4-0.
Okay, teleport back out for Annie as well. I mean, the Dragon, technically, you do have time for the death timers to come up for Cloud9, but they would be in a position where they'd also have to run into full FlyQuest vision to get there. Because they are respawning from these death timers,
The chickens.
they will be late. The chickens
They got him again.
He comes back for a 4th serving. Definitely need to get all of your protein as the dog.
That dog loves those chickens, man. Every camp, on spawn, every time. And Busio on Rumble here. Career record not so great, but this game's looking good.
It is looking good. And while it hasn't been played this split in pro play, he has played it in the past. 1-5, though, you're flaming him for solo queue.
Yeah, it happens, man. It happens. Vulcan, this happens too. There is no way, even through Unbreakable Will, that support Alistar is getting away. And now FlyQuest ready to keep the game going. They dive in after Zven. He cannot quite escape as Bwipo slams it down. And Loki goes with them. Everybody in C9 colors is only seeing black and white. FlyQuest don't need the soul. They don't need the Baron. They just need to run it straight down mid and find themselves an inhib turret. That one will crumble like paper. The inhibitor itself, their next target. They've got the wave still ready to go. It's only Thanatos and Vulcan about to spawn here in 2 seconds. Thanatos has to do his best to make some space. He jumps in after Quad, but the public execution is only his own as Vulcan, the lone man standing against the 5-man push from FlyQuest's side. The Nexus turrets fall back to back, and 25 minutes into the game, 15-2 in kills. Might even just be more than that. C9's respawning, but the Nexus won't. FlyQuest take game 1.